is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
All right, welcome to this week's weekly player spotlight on 3MAW as we are joined by K-State starting linebacker Austin Moore. And before we get started with Austin, as always, we want to remind you about our friends at Riverbank Brewing in Council Grove, which is partnered with Wildcat NIL and 3MAW to bring a K-State football player on the pod each week. Riverbank Brewing has outstanding craft beers brewed in-house, many of which are made with Kansas-grown barley and hops. Also have specialty cocktails made with Lewisburg cider, paired with your choice of vodka, tequila, rum, or whiskey, if that's your preference. Riverbank's located on Main Street in historic Council Grove. Will be open for K-State's game Saturday if you're unable to make it to Manhattan. So head on over, watch the Wildcats on one of Riverbank's mini TVs while enjoying a beverage courtesy of Riverbank, or swing by and pick up some beer on the go to take to your tailgate in Manhattan for the game, as Riverbank does have beer to go, so you have the opportunity to go take some, take it home, put it in your fridge, or take it on the go to your tailgate spot. Or maybe take a little detour on your way home after the K-State game and grab a beer at Riverbank. It's going to be a beautiful fall day. Riverbank has the perfect setup for you if you want to take in some college football on one of their several TVs, also on their large outdoor beautiful patio overlooking the Osho River. Riverbank open Thursday through Saturday. For more information, go to riverbankbrewing.com or facebook.com/riverbankbrewing. Austin, obviously an extremely difficult loss Saturday. We were all gutted for you guys and also extremely proud of the fight that you all displayed. And Chris Kleiman acknowledged Tuesday at his weekly press conference, you all were hurting, which is to be expected in a game like that. But as we get a few days away from the game now, what's kind of the mindset of the locker room, and how do you recover from a game like that mentally?
Yeah, I mean, the mindset now is that we just got to control what we can control and take it one day at a time, and go back to that preparation that we've had over these past few weeks that got us the success. It definitely was tough, like you mentioned, one of the more probably emotional games that I've been in since I've been here, but I think we're going to use it as fuel going on and not have it be something that holds us back.
So this is kind of to your point of what you just said, Austin. You guys are 4-2 in the Big 12, and firsthand anything can happen in this league. You lost a really difficult game last year against Texas in Manhattan. Texas then had control of its destiny, and then just a week later, Texas lost at home. You guys dominated at Baylor, and you found yourselves right back in control of your own destiny, and obviously made the league title and won the Big 12 championship. But regardless of what happens, a 9-win season with a chance to win 10 games is still on the table. That's one heck of a year. You're a leader on this football team. Has that been part of your message to the guys this week, and something you've talked to them, or something the other guys in the locker room have discussed and talked about? Is a lot of things still remain on the table regardless of what happened last Saturday.
Yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, 10-win season is a big deal. And we talk about it all the time. We've been talking this week, just we have so much to play for. And like you mentioned, you never know what's going to happen. Daniel Green and I were kind of talking just the other day about last year and how after we lost to Texas, we weren't sure if we were going to be able to get back in the Big 12. So, we still have faith that it's a possibility, but we know we gotta win our games to be there. So we gotta just control what we can.
Yeah. Now, as you look at the game at Texas, Austin, you guys held Texas over its final 12 drives to 16 points, and 7 of those points came with Texas starting a drive at your 5-yard line after a fumble. So after a hot start by Malik Murphy, Texas quarterback, he completed 11 of his first 15 passes for 175 yards. After that, you guys held him to 8 of 22 passing for 73 yards the remainder of the game, and you held the Texas offense on its last 50-plus plays to under 4 yards per play. What led to the turnaround defensively in that game?
I think we just settled in. At the beginning, we were kind of on our heels. We were making some, mistakes, and there was times where we were kind of out there trying to make adjustments that we shouldn't be making. That was one thing that happened to me. And one of those first touchdowns on Jacob Parrish was really my fault because, I was checking a play. And second half, we all talked and we said, we're just going to go out there. We're going to play our game, play fast. And I think once we started doing that, they got uncomfortable and we really settled it.
Austin, I really like the stat points per drive because it tracks efficiency, accounts for the number of possessions in a game, and pace per play. You guys are allowing 1.64 points per drive this season defensively against FBS opponents. If the season ended today, that would be the best mark by a K-State defense since that stat started being tracked by the website I use since 2007. So 16 years, you guys are on pace right now, if the season ended today with 3 games left, to have the best points per drive defensively in a 16-year stretch for K-State football. What's your reaction to hearing that? And how have you guys found so much success defensively after obviously losing some tremendous players from last year's team?
Well, my reaction is that's pretty cool. I guess I wasn't really aware of that. I knew we'd been having success these past few weeks and things like that, but that's something I'll mention to the guys too. Just keep building our confidence. But I think after kind of a slower start, I guess at the beginning of the year, a lot of guys have just become way more comfortable in what they're doing. We had a lot of young guys, like you mentioned, having to fill roles of guys who left and are in the NFL or are just done with football. So those guys have really stepped up these past few weeks. They've been meeting with coaches way more, and I feel like they're way more comfortable in what they're supposed to be doing on defense, and that's allowed them to kind of slow down the game and focus on the offense a little bit more.
You may have just partially answered this next question I had for you, Austin, because you hit on it a little bit, but I was going to ask you, what's the biggest area of improvement you've seen from this defense from the start of the season to date?
Yeah, just that confidence, guys knowing what they're doing, and it's allowing them to play so much faster. I look, specifically in the secondary, those guys had to fill in a bunch of key pieces for us last year, and they've done a great job these past few weeks playing fast, making plays in the backfield, and I think that's been the biggest change.
You mentioned Daniel Green earlier. I wanted to ask you about him. You lose him for the season against Missouri. We were all gutted for Daniel. He spoke to us on the podcast at Big 12 Media Days down in Arlington about just really wanting a healthy season this year after not being able to play at 100% for much of last year. How much did that loss hurt you guys, not just on the field, because we know he's a warrior, we know he's a terrific linebacker, but more in terms of just the pain you felt for him as a teammate?
Yeah, I was so sick for him. When he told me that he was done for the season, I really couldn't believe it. And he probably handled it, better than anyone on the entire team. Everyone was so sad for him. And it's been something that we talk about a lot, just playing for him. Every Friday in the hotel, we always mention Deuce, and Deuce gets up and talks to us too. But it was super tough loss, and one of the hardest things I've had to deal with in football in general.
Yeah, I mean, I know you've been right alongside him this is year 5 for you, Austin. It's year 6 for Daniel. So you guys have been a close-knit locker room, a close-knit linebacker room, and you've been right there with him. And I was going to ask you, I've seen him on the sidelines at every game since the injury, including the road games. I remember seeing him at Texas Tech. Heck, I remember him you guys were getting off the bus, going through the walk-through line amongst the fans against UCF. It was just a few days after having surgery, and there's Daniel Green with the sling walking through. Just how involved has he stayed in the day-to-day operations with you guys, and what's it mean to have a guy like him still present, still helping out on the sidelines?
He's here all the time as much as we are. He's at every meeting, every practice. He's in the back of the end zone next to Coach Standard watching us, and he's seeing things sometimes that coach isn't able to see if he's watching a certain player. So it's huge. I mean, it's like having another coach out there who he's been there, he's done it, and everyone on the team respects him a ton. And yeah, I mean, and then from a culture perspective, he's still probably, I would still say he's the leader of this defense and probably the leader of this team. He pushes us every day, and it's huge having him just around.
I want to get more into your story in just a moment, Austin, but speaking of losing Daniel, you've had some guys that really have stepped up at linebacker in his place. What do you make of the job that both Austin Romaine is doing as a true freshman, and then also Jake Clifton, a true sophomore that stepped in?
And they're fantastic players, super smart guys that continue to work super hard. Actually just got done meeting with Devin Kleiman, the assistant, and Austin and Jake, and those guys are always asking questions and continuing to learn. And, they've already proven they're great players, but the future is so bright for those guys.
Well, Clifton's a guy, Austin, that plays all 3 linebacker spots. He's still pretty young. How difficult is that to do?
That's super tough. I mean, we try to say that the rules are somewhat similar, but there's so many distinct little things that make it hard. And especially on third down, he's able to play all those positions, and it changes every week what he needs to do. So he has to spend a ton of time just learning, and I'm super grateful for what he does.
Well, as always, we got to tell you about our friends over at Home Field Apparel who support the Three Mall Pod and support us at KCSN. Home Field Apparel, I'm repping another Home Field shirt right here. If you're watching on YouTube, you're going to be able to see it. It's another lavender Sailor Willie t-shirt, a Wildcat Victory type shirt with the state of Kansas engraved into the t-shirt. Look, I've got nearly 20 Home Field items in my closet. You've heard me talk about it. I own several hoodies as well. John Kurtz owns this awesome lavender bomber jacket from Home Field. They have a ton of vintage retro gear on their website over at homefieldapparel.com. 40 K-State items to choose from, and we've got you hooked up with a 15% discount on your first time order. If you enter the code 3mall23 when you check out, you'll score 15% off on your first order. So go check them out. Get stocked up for football season. The rest of football season, get stocked up for basketball season. Look, they've got everything you want. They got plenty of t-shirts, but I am telling you folks, they have the most comfortable hoodies that I have ever worn in my lifetime. Super soft and comfortable. So get some of that gear as well, as we are headed into more fall temperatures here and then heading into winter. You're going to want some of those comfortable home field hoodies. So go check them out at homefieldapparel.com. Lastly, do want to mention, you heard me mention it on the Curry Sexton 3 Mall bonus edition pod. If you haven't checked that out yet, that released this week, be sure to check it out. And then also John Kurtz, DY, and I did a recap pod, and we have our of the Texas game, and we have our pregame pod coming out Thursday as well, as always. So check that out. But do want to mention as well that there's going to be a watch party on November 18th at Kingdom Bar and Grill in Overland Park for the KU K-State game. So a KU K-State watch party, and what will be the probably, assuming KU and K-State win this next weekend on Saturday, will be the first time that I believe both teams are ranked going into the Sunflower Showdown since 1995, is what John Kurtz had told me on our pregame show that we recorded earlier. So highly anticipated matchup between two in-state rivals. It's going to be a ton of fun, and Kingdom Bar and Grill is going to be having a watch party there. Outstanding food and drinks will be available no matter what the kickoff time. We'll find out that kickoff time here in the next few days, probably Saturday night or Sunday morning. We'll learn what that kickoff time is. So go check that out, and go to Kingdom Bar and Grill for what should be a really fun time, and watch that game and also other college football, and check them out for Chiefs games too. They do a lot of outstanding things over there at Kingdom Bar and Grill in Overland Park. So thank you. Go check them out, and go to homefieldapparel.com and support them as well. Now, on a personal level here for you, Austin, you lead the team with 50 tackles. You have 9 tackles for loss. You led the team with 87 tackles last year. You were second on the team with 10 tackles for loss in 2022. Obviously, you've just been outstanding. Did you ever imagine when you came to K-State as a walk-on that your career would turn out this way?
I definitely hoped it would, but I would say maybe before I got here, I thought maybe it would, but there were times when I was here and, I wasn't really sure if it would ever pan out like that, especially that 2020 season, just dealing with all the COVID stuff and having a new coach. And it was tough, but my parents, my family, they've always believed in me and pushed me and continued to, believe in me. And Coach Stannard is someone who's pushed me a ton and got me to where I am. So I'm super, super thankful for those guys.
For folks that don't know, you're from Lewisburg, Kansas. I'm curious, was K-State always the dream, or did you have other options you considered when choosing where to play college football?
I did grow up a KU fan just because my mom went to KU.
All right.
Yeah, but once I kind of got to high school, I was like, K-State is the place. If I want to play college football, that's where I want to go. And I didn't have a ton of opportunities. I had a couple FCS schools offered me a preferred walk-on too, but K-State was really my main offer.
Did KU approach you about walking on at all?
They invited me to a game, but they didn't offer me a walk-on spot. But if I would have had the chance, I definitely would have went to K-State.
Okay, awesome. Well, in your high school football career, you recorded 226 tackles. You rushed for over 3,000 yards, but you were also a 3-time state qualifier in wrestling. And I'm just curious, how much does having a wrestling background help you on the football field?
It helps a lot, especially with, tackling and things like that, and just body control, block destruction. But I'd say the biggest thing about wrestling is just that mindset. And I think the mindset of a wrestler really translates kind of to the mindset of a linebacker. You got to be tough to be a wrestler, mentally and physically. And you got to take responsibility. Obviously, as a wrestler, there's no one out there with you to blame or, make excuses for you. So I say it definitely translates.
Now, you earned your degree from K-State in May in kinesiology, and you're currently working on minors in gerontology and biology. First of all, Austin, sounds much harder than my journalism degree that I received from K-State. But how do you balance football with school and being such a great player?
I got to stick to a schedule. I kind of know what I'm going to do every day. And if I don't do it when I'm supposed to do it, then everything gets messed up. This week, actually, that you mentioned has probably been one of the busiest weeks I've had at school in a while. So it's been tough, but I know that it's all going to pay out in the long run.
Well, I have to ask you this because I think a lot of K-State fans would be curious. This is year 5 for you at K-State, and you guys currently have 8 or 9 guys who came back to for a year 6 this season due to that COVID season that a lot of guys have. And obviously Daniel Green was one of those guys who came back for a year 6. Have you given any thought to coming back for one final year?
Yeah, I've definitely thought about it. Sometimes I feel like I know what I want to do one way or the other, but I'm not sure yet. And I know it will come. I've talked to Daniel about it just because he told me all last year there was no way he was coming back, and he ended up coming back. So I think I'll know when the time is right, but definitely a possibility.
Well, I think Chris Kleiman, Joe Klanderman, Coach Stannard, and all K-State fans would gladly welcome you back with open arms next year if that's a decision that you choose. Hey, I'm curious, Austin, who are some other young guys that maybe are standing out on the defense or you think has a bright future from what you've seen? Obviously, we talked about Austin Romaine, we talked about Jake Clifton, but maybe a couple other guys that are maybe standing out to you that you see behind the scenes putting in the work.
Yeah, I think a big one will be Jordan Allen. That dude has a ton of athleticism. He's just a complete freak athlete. One of the fastest guys on the defense, and he's a big body too. He's going to be a special player for us once he continues to learn and develop within the defense. I would say Cam Salas is another guy. I see him maybe, rotating a little bit between maybe safety and linebacker, kind of maybe a Sam type guy who I think has a ton of talent and has continued to work hard and been improving.
About to wrap up here and let you out of here, Austin, and I'm not looking to get you in trouble with this question, but hey, was that a fumble and a safety in the TCU game in the Big 12 championship last year on that play you made?
I will say that the refs, they always come and visit the coaches in the summer, and the coaches did tell me that the referee said it should have been a fumble and a safety. So according to them, it was.
Oh, interesting, Austin. They acknowledge it behind the scenes, but they won't publicly come out.
I was going to say that, but
well, you know what? We're not going to let you get you in trouble for that. But look, we were at the game. We were astounded by the fact that they not only they ruled it a fumble and safety on the field, but then go to replay and somehow overturn that. It was bizarre. Hey, I got to ask you one more fun one here, and we'll get you out of here. So we always ask the guys when we do these pods each week as the player spotlight, who's the biggest trash talker on the team or on the defensive side of the football. Kobe Savage, as you probably aren't surprised, receives probably the most votes, but I would say, Austin, you're an honorable mention and your name being brought up. And we thought the guys were messing with us when they kept bringing you up. Because, look, from my seats where we sit at the games and watching you on TV, I never see you talking trash. Are they messing with me, or are you kind of sneaky about how you go about it?
I would say, it depends on the week. There's times where there's guys who try to talk to me first. And if you say something to me first, I'm gonna talk to you the rest of the game. So especially that CMO game, there was a guy on their team who thought he could say something to me, and I was on him the whole time. But I would say I'm probably a sneaky trash talker. Maybe once I get up from the pile, I'll say something and walk away. So maybe that's why you don't see it. But Kobe is definitely the main trash talker in the team.
Yeah, I figured. Well, hey, one more then to end. Baylor this Saturday. Anything that you see stands out about them offensively Obviously, Blake Shapen, a quarterback, a talented running back duo, Dominic Richardson and Richard Reese. They haven't ran the ball maybe as they would have expected this year, but what do you see from this Baylor team on film?
I think they have all the pieces to be a good team, and there's times where they put it together and play a good game. So, we got to be ready for them, and they're not too far away from winning Big 12 championship. They're 2-0 on the road, so they have confidence playing on the road. So we got to be prepared to play a good team.
Hey, Austin, appreciate the heck out of you. Appreciate all you've done for K-State, and just keep up the great work. Best of luck the rest of the season. We're so grateful to have you here in Manhattan, a part of this football program and helping lead this football team. And thank you for jumping on this pod. We appreciate Wildcat NIL. We appreciate Riverbank Brewing and Council Grove for supporting this weekly segment. So go check out and support Riverbank Brewing. Appreciate you, Austin. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.